What's up guys, and welcome to a kind of different video than I'm used to doing, where I'm actually going to be going over everything that I'm currently paying attention to in the crypto market. And that includes the different plays, the different strategies, the different projects I'm paying attention to, and just honestly what I'm doing in this market. And this is going to be kind of more of a chill, laid back video. And I also want to say here guys, before getting into this, to always do your own research on the different things that I'm covering, and that everything I'm saying is not financial advice and just my personal opinion and my personal journey on what I'm doing. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Now, the first thing that I do want to bring up here is that I have my own alpha group project called Jelly Cubes, where we talk about a lot of these different plays and opportunities. And this is actually the best way of actually being up to date on the different plays that I've been making. I'll occasionally make these different update videos if people really like these update videos, but most of the time I'm posting this in our Discord, in our alpha group, and it's honestly a ton of value. So if you're someone interested in joining some sort of group, check out the Jelly Cubes project. The first play that I want to cover in this video is Manta Network. Now, I've already made a couple videos going over Manta, including their airdrop / NFT, as well as their release details of everything you need to know about this ecosystem. And the most important thing that you guys have to know is it's essentially a really big VC pumped up layer 2 on Ethereum, but the big difference is they're using Celestia for the data availability, and they're able to save a significant amount of money doing so. So if you look at their Twitter, guys, on this post, they've already saved over $1 million worth of gas fees. And when you look at the transactions, they can be as low as 5 cents. And this is on an L2 with Ethereum. So that's one of the reasons I'm so bullish on Celestia. And honestly, I think Manta Network has some room to continue to run. In the video, I said that I thought this was going to go between $2 and $4. And this is exactly what's been happening. And it's been continually pumping. And what's interesting is when I look at other L2s, such as Arbitrum, they are significantly more expensive than what we're able to do with Celestia using the Manta Network. And if you look at Arbitrum, they're currently at 2.5 times the market cap of where Manta Network currently is at. And we know a lot of the Manta Network tokens aren't actually going to be coming in for some time. The inflation schedule is actually really great for this next year. So instead of selling all my Manta right away, I'm actually going to be keeping some and waiting for all of the different airdrops that they're actually doing on this chain. So kind of my plan here is I'm going to be staking half of this, or a portion of this, with Bifrost, I believe is the name. I still have to do it, where it's a liquid staking protocol for Manta. I'm going to wait for all of these airdrops that have already been announced. And then for the other half of Manta I am going to sell that once the first airdrop or the second airdrop goes out, because there's such this huge narrative right now with being able to get into these different airdrops. So I want to take my profit and I want to sell once some of those first airdrops start coming out, because that's when I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Manta, and a lot of people are going to be buying up Manta simply because of the airdrop narrative. Now, I don't really know where this price is going to go. If you've watched my videos in the past, I am more so a time-based trader rather than someone that trades based on specific price targets. I like to look for catalyst news or different events that is going to bring more liquidity in and going to bring in more buyers. And then typically when people are buying, I'm trying to sell. And my whole goal and my whole plan is to just get in early before these major events happen. So yeah, with Manta, I haven't sold any yet. I think it'll continue to run leading up to these different airdrops. I think even more people are going to buy once these airdrops happen. And I think the fact that they are saving so much money and are a very cost-effective L2 with a lot of projects building on it, as well as all of these different centralized exchanges, that this could be a potential player. Now, one of the things that I want to mention here, guys, is that this next year, as well as 2025, is going to have so many different layer 2s. It's going to have so many roll-ups. It's going to have so many roll-ups, so many new layer 1s. Like, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And this is 100% going to be a massive bubble. So I don't want to be holding a lot of these different layer 2s over the course of the next year or two, simply because I don't know which ones are going to stay. And that's why, for the most part, I'm kind of getting in and I'm getting out. I'll sell most of my Manta, like I said, once these first airdrops happen, and then I'll be getting the airdrops on the other half. I'm already pretty significantly up based on my original buy as well as farming it. And that's kind of my play with Manta right now. The next project on the list that I just made a play on yesterday is AltLayer. Now, I made a video covering everything that you need to know about the project, how they basically built this infrastructure of being able to launch your own roll-up blockchain and even have a restaked roll-up blockchain and be able to customize your blockchain like a pizza, where you can have Celestia data availability, and then you can can have restaking with the eigenlayer. I still don't know how to freaking say that project. But the big thing is I think AltLayer has the potential of getting a significant amount of airdrops if their whole entire ecosystem and their service for starting up these blockchains really takes off. Now, they are releasing their team and VC tokens starting in July. So over the next couple months is really a trial zone, in my opinion, to see if they're going to be able to lock in projects that are going to want to build using their system. And if they can lock those projects in, I think AltLayer is going to get a significant amount of airdrops. Now, this token just came out, and in my personal opinion, anything under this 0.5 level was a price that I was willing to buy at, and I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging into this token. They have a lot to prove when it comes to the adoption, but I think projects that have a lot of airdrops potentially coming in are just a hot narrative right now. Even when you look at YouTube analytics and what people are searching, it's all about airdrops. And I think AltLayer is one of those projects similar to Celestia that can really lock a lot in and help pay for your initial investment. So I've got some right now. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm in the profit right now simply because it's pretty much at its all-time high right now. So I think everyone is pretty much in their profit. But yeah, I'm just going to be holding it, seeing how the next couple months play out. If it gets to around $1, then I'll definitely be taking some profits, maybe my initial out, and then I'm going to be staking it once the staking opens up in order to hopefully get more airdrops similar to what we've been seeing with Celestia. The next project here that I have a big eye on and one that I'm going to buy when it comes out, depending on the price, is Dymension. Dymension needs to be on your radar, guys. It's another project that I did a whole entire video on describing how exactly their roll apps work. And it's very interesting how they're doing things. And the big difference with Dymension compared to all of these other L2s out there that are just using basically L2 rollups with Celestia or eigenlayer or whatever the case is, Dymension is actually a layer 1 blockchain that's going to be doing the settlement. So instead of settling on Ethereum, they're actually going to be settling on Dymension. So I have my eyes on this. Once again, it's another protocol which is going to have to show me that this is an adopted concept and different projects are actually going to want to launch their rollups. We don't know when this token is going to launch, but we know this token is going to be launching somewhat soon here. And if you were staking TIA before December 17th or something like that, you're actually going to be able to claim your airdrop. But yes, guys, this is one that you should have on your radar, and it's probably the next buy that I'm going to make outside of what we have with AltLayer that I just bought yesterday. The next project that needs to be on your guys' radar, and another video that I made, I've just been cranking out these videos in all honesty, is Berachain. Now, Berachain is in their testnet right now. You can watch the video guide on how to actually complete these different tasks, but I'm going to be honest with you guys and shoot you 100. There's so many people doing these Berachain tasks, and because it's on the testnet where it doesn't cost anything, this airdrop is going to be very oversaturated and probably not that profitable. So what you're going to want to do though is you're still going to want to do this simply because when they actually launch their blockchain and they go on the mainnet, I think there's going to be some really big DeFi opportunities. So if you're someone that's really interested in getting a high yield on things, I really recommend keeping an eye on Berachain and how they're using this new proof of liquidity concept. And I really genuinely believe that in the first month, there's going to be a lot of money flowing into Berachain. And if you get in early to some of the different DeFi opportunities, or maybe buy their Bera token when it comes out and be able to use that Bera token to earn BGT and then take that BGT and either stake it for airdrops or take that BGT and burn it back into Bera token, I just think there's going to be a lot of opportunities here, and you can probably get exposure simply by having ETH and depositing ETH as liquidity and being able to get all these rewards. So if you're someone that once again has a little bit more liquidity and is looking for a DeFi play, definitely keep an eye on Berachain. And I think this is a token that can run as well for the first month or so as so much more liquidity starts to come in to their blockchain and project. So a big one to have your eyes on. Outside of new releases that are coming out soon, I'm also pretty heavy in Dojoswap. Now, I've mentioned Dojoswap multiple times on the channel. I've mentioned that I've been farming it. I actually brought up a video of how to get their farming airdrop claim right when they released that. So I've been farming. I bought a bunch in the pre-sale, sold a lot of it around 0.01. It dipped all the way down to 0.06, actually bought back in at 0.07, and I've been going into their liquidity pool and just putting a bunch of that dojo and staking it. The big reason that I'm paying so much attention to Dojoswap is because they are not only cutting their emissions down by 70%, but their market cap is still low, only around a $7 million market cap. They've been launching product after product after product, including different launches on their site, all of these different revenue streams are going back into buying and burning Dojo token. The team has just been executing at a big level. There's not a lot of competition on Injective yet. And overall, I've been very impressed with this token and I've been very impressed with the team. And I think now that those emissions are lower and that they're going to be burning a lot of their tokens, so FDV doesn't even matter, I think Dojoswap is just in a prime position to really do well. Now, do I recommend going out and buying this token right now? It's a little bit more iffy. The risk is a lot higher now that that pre-sale is over, where you could have gone in at 0.0375. Once again, I made a video on this, so you guys could have gotten into the pre-sale and gotten a good deal. But for now, I'm simply going to be farming this token. I'm going to be accumulating it and I'm going to be restaking it. And I'm going to be getting into the different launchpad projects that they're doing, including KAGE Finance, which is actually launching today. And once again, I made a video on KAGE Finance. I think that if you already have the Dojo token, it's worth sending in. And I'd be surprised if you didn't at least get a 30% gain on it if you were trying to quick flip, maybe even a 2 to 3x if it ends up doing a big run. Now, the roll token that they launched is around pre-sale price, but it actually did a 3x if you got into their launchpad. So I'm thinking something similar is going to happen with KAGE. And another thing is, guys, is that you can actually farm this drop as well. So make sure to check out that video as well if you want to learn how to farm this, because I think that might actually end up being a pretty profitable farm. For my specific play on KAGE today, simply because it's releasing and I'm going to be going for it, I'll probably try to flip the vast majority within the first hour when there's the most amount of transactions. And then I might hold some for the longer play just in case I want to get those different limit orders and really use the bot and get the different tools. But I think it's going to take a while for them to build all that stuff out and hype might go down. And there's so many more launches happening on Injective soon that I'm more so a quick flipper. I'm going to hope that the amount of Dojo I spent is going to be less than the amount of money that I'm going to make from flipping this KAGE token. Speaking of just Injective in a broader sense, I actually think Injective over the next 1 to 2 months is going to be really hot. And I think a lot of money is going to flow into this ecosystem. And the reason I think that is they just have so many massive projects all releasing in the next 1 to 2 months that have been building on this chain for a while. Some of these projects are the top 5 projects I'd keep your eyes on, guys, is going to be Helix, Mito Finance, Hydro Protocol, Neptune Finance, and Black Panther. These are the 5 projects that I'd really keep an eye on. You can actually farm their different airdrops. I made a video on maximizing Injective airdrops, which you guys can watch that as well. But I really think that these 5 projects will do well, and they probably have another 15 projects all releasing in the next month or two. And I think that they are going to be able to attract outside liquidity, and I think that's going to pump up Injective, as well as there being a lot of opportunities to get into these tokens early. So I'll try to keep you guys updated. Of course, I'll update all of our Jelly Cube holders in our Discord when these different things are releasing, but definitely have your eye on Injective in general. And I have Injective staked on 100 different wallets in order to qualify for some of these airdrops as well. And once again, guys, you're going to want at least $150, in my opinion, worth of Injective per wallet that you do in order to qualify for the different airdrops. But yeah, I just am bullish on Injective in the Cosmos ecosystem in general. And a lot of my time has been focused on looking at these different opportunities in the Injective ecosystem. Outside of those different plays that I just mentioned, pay attention to the Celestia ecosystem and try to get some of these different airdrops by messing around on the various chains. I think Celestia is going to get a ton of airdrops simply from staking your TIA, but I think it's also important to pay attention to some of the other blockchains or some of the roll-ups or some of the different services that are launching as well. And I think some of these airdrops are going to be really profitable if you're paying attention to them. Some of the ones that I'm personally paying attention to right now was obviously Manta Network. We're going to have to see if they actually airdrop Celestia holders. People don't know. I didn't see on their tokenomics that there was going to be any airdrop for TIA, but they also didn't do their tokenomics properly for their airdrop based on the numbers I was seeing. So maybe they actually have some for Celestia holders. We'll see. But some of the other ones I'm looking at is Movement Labs. I think they've been gaining a decent amount of traction. I've covered Lightlink in the past as well. Eclipse is another one to look out for. I've heard some good things about Astria. I haven't looked too deep into that one yet. Another one that I've made a video on to cover was Hyperlane. I think some of these cross-chain protocols can help out a little bit when it comes into this modular blockchains, and Hyperlane specifically is helping cross-chain all these different modular blockchains so you can move liquidity from one area to another. So you can actually farm that airdrop as well. But the big ones that I really like paying attention to have to be these settlement layers and bridging hubs. We've already had Neutron come out. Neutron was super profitable if you were someone that was farming this and got into that token early. You also have Saga that is already doing their airdrop snapshot. This token isn't out yet. Dymension and Berachain, I both covered in this video. Two hot releases that definitely need to be on your radar. And then Initia is kind of like Dymension, but this one's actually backed by Binance and not a lot of people are paying attention to it. So keep an eye on it. I don't think their testnet is out yet, but when that testnet comes out, definitely farm it and definitely pay attention to it because I think it's one of the more slept on different plays that are coming up in this ecosystem. If you guys don't have a ton of money either, definitely don't sleep on these different airdrops that are happening in Cosmos. I think Cosmos is going to be one of the hottest blockchain ecosystems to be a part of in this next bull run. And you're already seeing so many different projects use Celestia or build on Cosmos SDK and have the IBC so everything is connected. And I think a lot of airdrops are going to be going out. And if you think about it, guys, all of these VCs raised a bunch of money a couple years ago in last bull run, and they're now starting to deliver their products. But they don't want to do a sale a lot of times because there's a lot of regulatory uncertainty when it comes to different token sales. So a lot of these projects are simply going to be doing airdrops, and a lot of those airdrops are going to go towards people that are completing the Galaxy test, that are on their testnet and messing around on the chain, that might own their NFTs, or simply staking the different major tokens such as TIA or staking Atom or staking Injective. So pay attention to this ecosystem, guys. I'll even make a video talking about EigenLayer because I think EigenLayer is also going to get a ton of airdrops with their whole restaking premise. And they also have the data availability going to be offered in the future as well. So very similar to what Celestia is doing, but just for Ethereum. So these are different things to pay attention to. And I think as all these different projects and all these different layer 2s and all these VC funded projects start to do their airdrops, you can buy something like TIA for $15 per TIA. And by the end of the year with all the airdrops, you could have made, let's say, a 3-4x simply from staking and holding your TIA. And it's still so early where a lot of these different protocols haven't come out yet. And yes, some of the protocols, guys, are not going to be giving us any airdrops. Like, I don't know if Manta is going to give an airdrop to Celestia. They really should. And if I'm Celestia, why are you not requiring that's one of the requirements? You know, if you're hearing this Celestia team, make that a requirement that they have to give airdrops. I don't know why that isn't a requirement to use their data availability layer. I know in the future there's Avail and there's Near and there's EigenLayer and they want to be competitive, but what are you doing? That should have been a requirement in my opinion. And I think Manta on their side should have given an airdrop anyways, even if it wasn't a requirement. But regardless, enough of the rant. We have different airdrops that are coming out, such as Dymension, and hopefully Berachain is able to give different airdrops as well. And that's why, once again, similar to Injectives, I have a bunch of Celestia on 100 different wallets that are all being staked, and hopefully I can get some different airdrop opportunities simply from staking this different TIA, and I think that'll help pay for itself. And on top of that, I have made a video already covering TIA and talking about why I think TIA is the biggest play of 2024, and they actually don't even have more tokens coming out until like November 1st from their VCs and their team because it was a 1-year cliff. So I still think Celestia is really hot, and we can see with Manta Network, guys, that I was just talking about earlier, they are able to save over $1 million worth of transactions simply from using TIA. This is absolutely crazy, and I honestly expect so many more blockchains to start to be modular and this be one of the big narratives to pay attention to. And speaking of narratives, I know I'm kind of jumping around here. We've got to be paying attention to the narratives as these new projects come out. Are there different airdrops that are going to happen? Is this a modular network? Is this zero knowledge ZK? Is this a roll-up? Is this a roll-up? Is this AI? Is this gaming? Like, there's going to be all these different narratives, and it's important to stay on top of them, and it's important to get in early. Most of the money made in the space, guys, is the moment you buy it. And usually the best time to buy it is right when it comes out because people aren't staying on top of these releases as much. So if you can just pay attention to the different things that are fitting these different narratives that have a lot of potential, that have big teams behind them, that are automatically getting listed on Binance and these other centralized exchanges, then there's a big opportunity to make money on these different plays. And then a lot of times, guys, what I'm doing is I'm simply selling or I'm exiting whenever the hype is at its maximum point, and then I'm just flowing that money into the next release. Because to be truthful with everyone here, There's so many different L2s and so many different L1s. This is definitely an oversaturated bubble that is eventually going to pop. And a lot of these projects, a lot of these blockchains are just going to be insignificant, especially since the tech is advancing so quickly in the space. I mean, just look at a year ago, Arbitrum is the top dog and they're doing all this L2 stuff on Ethereum. And now you have something like Manta come out and they say, hey, we're 98% cheaper than you. You know, this is the space we're in. And even things that are coming out now are going to be obsolete in a year or two, most likely. So it's one of those situations, never be so convinced or have too much conviction on any one project or any one blockchain, because it is so early in this space. And things like Ethereum are now lagging behind. Things like Cardano are now lagging behind. Things like Polygon are now lagging behind. And then these new blockchains can start taking those positions until they get replaced by other things. So this could be a whole other video, but this is why I'm a lot more of a swing trader and flipper when it comes to this space. And if you're someone that's looking for a long-term investment where you don't have to pay too much attention, just put your money in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only thing that's a store of value, and it doesn't matter about the tech as much. It matters about the store of value and adoption that we're going to see over the next year or two. The last thing that I want to mention in this video is I see so many people trying to sell their crypto and they're like, oh, let me get into stable coins. I think we might go down 20, 30%. I think there's going to be a correction. This was a sell the news. Get that shit out of your head. If you are someone who's experienced with day trading and swing trading and you're constantly in and out of these different positions, then go for it. But if you're an average everyday investor and you don't have time to do all these things and you're constantly getting in and out of the market simply by what other people are saying, you need to take a step back. We are about to enter a massive bull run with life-changing gains, in my opinion. We have the spot ETF just getting approved. That's going to take time to see the fruition from that. We now have ETH ETFs in the process. Yes, they just got delayed, but they're in the process of approval. We have the Bitcoin happening in April 2024, and then we have the 4-year cycle, which means 2025 is going to be our year. So it doesn't really make sense for me where people are selling all their crypto and they're like, oh, I think it's going to go down 10, 20%. Maybe I can get a better deal. Dude, we are going to have a 5x, 10x, 20x, 30x opportunity over the next 2 years, and you trying to get a 10 to 20% better deal might make you out of the market. And then all of a sudden, when things really run, you're kind of sitting on your hands because you don't have the exposure. So if you're worried, maybe dollar cost average and take some money out and, don't have all of your eggs in one basket. But if you're selling all of your crypto and keep going on the sidelines because some YouTuber, including myself, said, hey, we think this is going to go down, then you're going to potentially miss out on a massive run where pretty much everything is going to pump at the same time as more liquidity pools in. So that's just like the last minute rant that I want to say in this video. Always do your own research, guys, and just be aware that it's better to be in the market, even if the market goes down 20, 30%, in my opinion, than to be out of the market and the reverse happen and this majorly pumps. And now you're worried about getting back in because you think there's going to be a correction that might not come until 2, 3x later. But yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up the video. Hope you all enjoyed this video and learned a little bit. I'll try to make some of these videos more often just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm paying attention to in the market. But like I said, if you really want to be updated, you're going to have to buy a jelly cube because I'm not going to be able to include everything in these videos. And I definitely can't make these videos as fast as me making it in a Discord announcement. But yeah, that wraps up the video and I'll catch y'all later.